Cam, the boys are back in town, baby. Episode 2, let's get it.
Yes, sir. All right, Bulls, we're back. Like Ward said, episode 2. It is April 24th, 2023. Ward, who would have thought we ever got to episode 2 on this
Hey,
thing?
episode 2, and I just want to thank all of our supporters. We're getting up there. We are now on not just one platform, we're on 2 platforms. We're on both YouTube and Spotify. Not want to brag on us, but YouTube, we're up to almost 70 views. That was as of this morning. We could be up to 1,000 by now. Haven't checked. Spotify, we're lacking a little bit, boys. We're going to need some help here. As of this morning, we're at 8. So, boys, we're going to need you to, and girls, everybody, but it is 2023, so I'm not, boys, girls, all genders out there. We need likes, subscribes, everything. Support the boys. We have a dream here. We're looking to get big. Joe Rogan, we're coming for you. But yeah, Cam, happy to be back, baby. Let's get it.
Hell of a promo there, Ward.
Hey, and I got one more thing too. I did not say this for all our all our listeners out there. We are going to have the Fat Cats podcast T-shirts coming soon. Me and Cam, we might be the only two wearing them, but they will be available for purchase, and that's going to be on our Instagram feed that everybody needs to check out at the Fat Cats Pod. Let's get it, baby.
And we're going all the way up to 4X on those T-shirts, baby. So today what we're kind of going to get into is we've got some college football news to go over. Tank Davis knocked out Ryan Garcia, a little bit of controversy there.
That left hook to the liver, son.
We've got some NBA playoffs to talk about, and we're going to be introducing a new segment at the end of the show, so stick around for that. Ward, just kind of getting into it, man. I want to get your take. This is not worthy to start a show off, but I want to hear what you have to say. Kyler Murray this weekend got a statue unveiled outside the OU stadium. What are your thoughts about that?
My question is, I wonder if they made the statue 5'8" or if they made the statue like a tall person. Just my curiosity. I know old Kyler, but hey, all power to him. He makes a lot more money than me and you combined, and he makes more money in 1 year than we'll ever make. But hey, they got to give Baker Mayfield one now too, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was going to get around to. Like, there's been a lot of people in Oklahoma that have done as much or more than Kyler Murray who don't have statues.
Hey, Oklahoma also has the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Where's his statue at? Has Kyler been to a Super Bowl? Has Baker been to a Super Bowl? No. But guess what? Jalen Hurts just did. Yep, that's my take on it. But it is what it is, right?
Hey, more power to him, like you said. I don't think he deserves it, but we're here talking about him. He's never thought about it.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, well, Cam, I wanted to ask you, man, how was we'll get into the week recap. Tell me about it. How was your weekend?
My weekend was great, man. A lot of basketball got watched. I went to the South Carolina baseball game.
Oh, Columbia, how was that?
That was awesome.
Did you wear your Go Cox T-shirt?
Oh yeah, I got a hat and everything. I'm Cam Taylor's for the Cox, baby. Come on.
Hey, somebody quote that right there. I'm not the only one that heard that.
Somebody clip that. How was your weekend, Ward? What'd you get into?
It was great, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was supposed to go out and channel my inner Chase Koepka, aka Mr. Hole in One on the Live Golf Tournament. I was supposed to go play in a golf tournament Friday or Saturday, but due to some unfortunate circumstances with the rain, I didn't get to play. So, but other than all, it was a hell of a weekend in sports. I think in all sports, football, basketball, baseball. I didn't really watch much baseball, but there was something good that happened out there. Boxing world, UFC world. We're back, man. We're back. I'm extremely excited for episode 2. And yeah, well, Cam, I'll go ahead and hop in, man. I want to ask what's your honest opinion on this. Did you get a chance to watch the Colorado spring game?
I watched a little bit of it. There's definitely a buzz in Colorado right
now. Something's going on in Boulder right now. Something that caught my eye that I thought was really cool was last year it looked like there was about 150, 200 fans there. This year they were sold out. There was 55,000 people there. If that's not the Deion Sanders effect, don't know what is.
Hey, he ain't hard to find, man, and it ain't hard to sell tickets when you got Deion in town either.
You see that big old cowboy hat he had on too?
I did, man. Deion is electric, man. He knows how to sell tickets. He's man. If he's half the coach he was as a ball player, he'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
But, I do want to talk in Colorado, man. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the portal recently, but there's a mass exodus going on in Colorado right now. Some good player, like some guys they just got in the portal, some guys that were leftovers from last year's roster, But the main one to me, their running back ran for 150 yards in the spring game. Next day enters the portal.
How
Ward,
about
I
that?
want your thoughts on that.
Well, I have right here NFLDraftDiamonds.com. So this is not us going off script. This is us right here. This is sourced. Since Saturday, they have had 6 players enter the transfer portal. 4 of these players being starters. Wide receiver Montana I'm going to butcher this last name. Limonius. He had 3 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not sure what happened there. I don't know if he's running away from Travis Hunter. Not sure, but Chase Sowell, another wide receiver. Linebacker Shakon Bauer, a 4-star DB coming out of high school, Jajon Johnson, another DB, Tyron Taylor, and then another wide receiver, Jordan Tyson. I'm not sure what's going on, dude. I don't know if, I don't know if somebody said something, like if somebody internal in the locker room said something and that hasn't got out to the media yet. You don't just have 6 players leave just like that after the most electric spring game the university's ever had. I
Well,
don't know what's going on. What do you think?
that's what I was about to get into. Like, there's something to be said about guys losing starting spots and stuff, but I don't think you just have 6 guys enter the portal the day after the spring game unless something internal is going on, or maybe they got to Colorado and realized shit ain't sweet, man. I may be
Yeah.
playing time, but that doesn't mean I'm just gonna get handed everything.
Yeah, but if I had to if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I always lose when I bet. But if I were betting, I think something had to happen internally. I'm not saying what. I don't know if something happened with Dion, something happened with an assistant coach. Somebody said something, but I don't know, man. Colorado, that's not a good look on them. For it to
Yeah,
have 4 start. I mean, this is the spring game. The spring game is what caps off spring football practice. And I don't know, dude. That's going to be. I'm curious to see what the media has to say about that. What comes out of it.
speaking of some portal controversy, let's look at Alabama and Nick Saban here.
Oh my gosh, man.
I don't know if you got a chance to watch the spring game. Jalen Milroe versus Ty Simpson might be one of the worst QB1 battles we've had in Tuscaloosa in a long time.
Awful. I mean, all these guys come in, especially Jalen Milroe. I mean, he's played. He has some experience playing in SEC football games. And these dudes both come in, they throw a combined 3 interceptions. You've been playing against these guys all spring. It's inter squad. I know they're doing ones-on-ones in practice for spring ball. It's that they end every day with that segment. I know they're doing 7-on-7. I don't know what happened. I don't know if but they come out and they both throw a combined 3 picks. And the thing that gets me, these guys have been playing together. They've been practicing together every day, and they're playing their own team. Don't get me wrong. Both quarterbacks had under a 50% completion percentage. Alabama is supposed to be the hierarchy of college football. That's awful. You know what? Alabama is looking to me right now like a 7-5 North Carolina State team. But who knows, man? SEC football ain't no joke.
Well, let's touch on this controversy a little bit here because the college football world is really talking about 2 guys that aren't even on Alabama's roster. Those 2 guys being Tyler Van Dyke and Drake May. The word has gotten out. The word has gotten out. Tyler Van Dyke threatened to enter the portal about last week, got a huge NIL deal from Miami. Drake May is another guy that's been, kind of thrown around there that there's some people peeping around the bushes.
No way.
Chapel Hill. There's been word that Alabama has tried to get both of these guys to enter the portal to come to Alabama. And that if that's true, that's real. I mean, obviously we used our eyes and saw Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, but if that's true, that just tells you what Nick Saban thinks about these 2 quarterbacks on the roster.
Yeah, absolutely too. It's going to be hard. I know specifically for Drake May. We both live in North Carolina. You played against Drake in high school. I haven't played against him, but I know some of his teammates. But I know, Drake, his family is legacy at Carolina. His brother played there. His brother was an all-star basketball player there. His dad was a quarterback there back in the day. He has deep roots in Chapel Hill. And then Miami, that Tyler Van Dyke guy, money talks at the end of the day. He's been at Miami. I think he's a 2-year starter now at Miami. People in Miami have money. There's some NIL throwing some cash at him.
The thing about Miami we're going to need to watch with this NIL becoming such a big deal. This is the second time in 2 years that they've had a star player threatened to enter the portal to get more money, and they have ended up getting more money with Nigel Pack. That situation last year with him transferring over from Kansas
Yeah,
State. Dude, if this guy, I mean, it's one booster throwing around the money at Miami. I
yeah.
mean, you can sit there and think, how many times is this guy gonna, roll over before he says, enough is enough here. Um, but that's a conversation for another day.
I have a question for you in regards to that. How long do you think Georgia has overtaken the absolute dynasty of college? Do you think Georgia has outlasted the Alabama dynasty of college football yet or not?
Um, I don't think at this moment, if you stack the two dynasties up against each other, that Georgia is the same dynasty Alabama was. Um,
I think
I think,
Georgia has a big is
yeah,
they have a very good opportunity.
I think that officially the torch has been passed, though.
You think so?
I think that Georgia's in the driver's seat of the SEC right now.
Absolutely.
You don't. I mean, they're both recruiting at a high clip. Don't get me wrong, but like Georgia has been the number one class the past three classes. Like
Yep.
that's when you win games 2 and 3 years from now.
Yep.
They're
You're right.
Georgia's going to be tough to deal with, and you got to think, man. I like Stetson, solid quarterback. They haven't done this with a stud first rounder yet either.
Nope.
I would be
Nope.
scared to be an SEC team if that team ever touches a clear cut first round quarterback, because Kirby has proven he can overperform with less talent. Now, if you give him the defense and the quarterback, I mean,
Yeah.
teams might not get within 35 of this team.
Yeah, I think yeah, you're 100% right. And I personally would not want to play Georgia. I think right now Georgia's here, Alabama's here. Georgia is in front, but not by much. Georgia goes on and wins another one this year. If they three-peat, they're a mile ahead of Alabama, especially the way Alabama looked in the spring game yesterday. If Alabama I think if Alabama does not come out and even make the playoff, it's not a good look. Not a good look at all. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach ever. Nick Saban's gonna pull some magic out of his sleeve, just like he always does.
Um, Kind of pivoting here just a little bit, like a little tiny college football news kind of deal. A rule change in college football.
That's crazy, man. I saw that.
The the clock will no longer stop on first downs for the chains to move, except for the last 2 minutes of each half. This isn't a big deal, but it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. Heck yeah.
Teams who play ball control, the team I go to is Kentucky and Mark Stoops. They love playing that style of ball. Kirby Smart loves playing that style of ball. It's going to make a huge difference. Like, you're going to probably take away a possession a game because of this rule. And we'll be coming back during the football season. And right now, nobody's really talking about it. But come week 4, week 5, when there's some teams that usually get 6 possessions a game, and now they're getting 4.5, 5.
Absolutely.
We'll be talking about it. It'll become a big story when people realize the absolute kind of effect that it's going to have on the sport.
Absolutely too. And I think it's going to be good for these high-level SEC quarterbacks, not even SEC, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, and Pac-12. These high-level quarterbacks that are coming in, adjusting from college football to the NFL, you don't realize it, man, and it gets overlooked. That makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. When you're coming down on a drive, say you're not in 2-minute drill yet, but say, you're there's 4 minutes left before halftime. You want to come down, score, try to get the ball back again, get your defense get stopped, try to get the ball back again. And, the clock stopping makes a huge difference. When the clock's not stopping and the clock's continuous, you're not getting out of bounds, it drains a lot quicker than you think it does.
Well, and we're also going to see these coaches, because how many coaches have gotten away with keeping a timeout here and there? Because
yeah, you're absolutely right.
Clock management's going to be interesting to see these first few weeks in college football as well. But,
unpopular opinion, I like it. I personally do. I like it.
I think it brings another level of strategy into the game, and I like it too. If your coach who's not used to using timeouts effectively, like at end of the half, end of the game situations, a lot of dudes are going to get exposed because
my question is how much longer until they actually implement this into when they take it no more 2-minute drill. No, they don't stop it after 2 minutes. They keep going. The clock. You see what I'm saying? I didn't phrase it right. But.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do that. But it's kind of on par with the NCAA and college sports. Instead of going from a 35-second shot clock to a 24. They went from a 35 to a 30.
Yep.
Kind of goes along with it. I personally would like if they just went all the way with it.
I think so too. I think you either got to go big or go home in that situation.
But that's besides the point. I could see it, maybe getting changed again soon. Will I count on it? No, because I don't count on the NCAA to do anything.
Yeah, no.
But kind of pivoting off that, let's talk some NBA, man, because
RJ Barrett, baby.
The RJ Barrett legacy game happened in New York at MSG prime time. I mean, this weekend was everything New York Knicks fans envisioned RJ Barrett would be. Now let's see if he can do it 2 games in a row.
The Knicks have won one series in the past. What is it? I think they've won one playoff series. Is it the past 15 years? Did you see that statistic?
I did not, no.
It's something insane, but I don't know. I mean, especially RJ Barrett too. He is getting himself paid, man, because the way he's playing, Julius Randle is arguably the best player in New York. Julius Randle's hurt. I mean, he's playing, but he's not. Yesterday, he had 7 points. The day before that, or their game, whatever, 2 games ago, he only had 9. Like, he's not. Julius Randle comes out and produces 20 points, 25 points day in or game in and game out. And he's not doing this, man. This is all RJ Barrett. I mean, Derrick Rose.
I would give I'll give a huge shout out to Jalen Brunson. He's my best player in New York. You want to talk about a tough guard, man. He's 6'1".
He is good.
He plays like an old man at the Y. It's awesome to watch.
Yeah, old head basketball.
One thing I want to talk about with this series, which, is looking more and more like a gentleman's sweep as we go back to Cleveland here for Game 5. The Cavs have a glaring hole in their roster.
They do.
They've got 2 bigs, 2 centers, which in today's NBA is almost unheard of. They've got 2 guards that are both under 6'2", which in this NBA is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
And they've got a 3 position that night in and night out does not make any effect on the game. Isaac Okoro, former lottery pick, I think he's 3 years into the league. He's done nothing to push me over. I didn't think he was a lottery pick when he came out of Auburn. He was kind of supposed to be this 3-and-D guy. He doesn't play hard on defense, and he shoots like 30% from 3. So that guy does not need to be starting for a contender like we've been told the Cavs are for years. Well, not years, this season. And then, you kind of make a midseason move for Karis LeVert last year, hoping that he can kind of fill that role, and he just hasn't. The Cavs, even if they make it past this round, which it's not looking likely, they're down 3-1. They're a very flawed roster going into the offseason to me.
Yep, you're right. And I will say too, it is the New York Knicks. There is always a chance that the Cavs make some magic happen. I'm being honest, I knew the Cavs sucked. I think the Cavs suck one. They have Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, Donovan Mitchell's great, but I went my first NBA game ever, like 2 months ago. I was in Atlanta with all my work buddies, and I was like, the Cavs and the Hawks were playing. I was like, dude, let's go. I've never been to one. Let's go to a game. The Hawks come out, and the Hawks at this point were under 500, and the Cavs are like a 4 seed or 5 or whatever. They're a lot better than the Hawks. And I throw money. The Cavs or the Hawks are a -3 favorite. I said, there is no way. So I throw money on the Cavs. And, of course, the Cavs come out and get beat by 30 points. So ever since then, the Cavs maybe lose $20. Don't like them. They're not the same since LeBron's been there. Donovan Mitchell's not the answer. The Cavs suck. That's my hot take for the day. But it is New York, so you never know.
Kind of shifting the next game yesterday. Sacramento versus the Warriors, man. We said it last episode. The series doesn't start till a road team wins the game.
Yeah, but there is bad news with that too. I saw that Sacramento's best player got I just saw right before this podcast, it was breaking news. I don't know if he messed up his hand or his knee. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, King Star reportedly fractured finger in Sunday's loss to Warriors, so he's doubtful for Game 5.
Okay, well, I just now saw that.
You said what?
I said I just now saw that as well.
Yeah, but you're right. The NBA playoff, the game does not start until a road team loses. Until somebody wins on the road. I really butchered that one. So somebody wins on the road. But I don't think the series is ever going to start, Cam, to be honest with you, because going based off of Golden State, they do not win on the road. They win at home. They do not win on the road. They honestly should have lost last night. I don't know if you watched the game. Harrison Barnes, man, had not wide open, but had a clear look from three to end the game with 2 seconds left. And don't get me wrong, it's a hard shot to make and a hard scenario to make, but I don't know. I mean, they had the opportunity last night.
I always find myself when I'm watching, so far these 4 games of this series, thinking to myself, like, I don't know who I'd want to be in this situation. And this is all the way throughout the game because it always feels like one team is not playing as good as they should be.
Yep.
The other team is playing great, but it's always a close game. So I never know, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like, you never know who's got the upper hand in that series, which
Yep.
makes it a great basketball series. I will say, if Fox is hurt, that series completely changes because
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
he's the clutchest player in the NBA. He's far and away the Wolves, or not the Wolves. Goodness gracious, the Kings' best player. Um, Swipe is my boy from Kentucky. I hope he's good. This has been a great series so far. I would hate to see it kind of derailed
Yeah.
because of injury.
And Cam, I want to give a shout out too, to our listeners out there. Give Cam his props. Cam comes to every podcast prepared. He has these stats ready to go. I don't know. It was the last segment when he was talking about the Knicks and the Cavs. He's sitting there dropping stats on me, dropping, real time data. And I'm like, dude, you know what? Props to you, man. So I just want to, interrupt you and throw your shout out there. But one thing I wanted to talk about, Cam, I know me and you didn't really discuss this much. What the hell is going on in the NBA? I don't know if Vince McMahon came in and gave these guys a speech about getting viewing numbers up or what. These dudes are out stomping each other, man, kicking each other in the nuts, punching each other in the nuts. What the hell, dude?
To me, man, when I see this, I think playoff basketball, man.
Yeah, I mean, I will say a couple of the ejections I think are bullshit. I think Dillon Brooks. I'm a Dillon Brooks fan, so I may be biased. I thought you don't get thrown out for that. Obviously, it wasn't intentional. James Harden was awful, dude. You're gonna throw James Harden out for doing a crossover and accidentally giving somebody a little love tap, and getting them hurt. Come on, man. And then
That's
who else did who didn't know? I think the only reason why James Harden got kicked out, and this was game 3, right? The only reason James Harden got kicked out was because all that Joel Embiid stuff. And Joel Embiid didn't get kicked out for doing this, but James Harden gets kicked out for that. I don't know. But
I
they're selling, man. People are watching. I'm tuned in.
I think that was a makeup call for sure. I will say with the Dillon Brooks thing, like if you kick James Harden out for that the night before, you have to kick Dillon Brooks out for
That's
that.
true. You got a point there. You got a valid.
I disagree with both. I think it's part of the game.
Who else
It doesn't
outside of those 3? Who else got in trouble?
Draymond got in
Draymond.
trouble.
That's right.
But,
Yeah, Draymond's out here, damn WWE stomping on people.
just to kind of touch on the games yesterday, and then we'll move on to the games today.
Yeah.
Celtics, take care of business. There's a gentleman's sweep incoming in Atlanta.
Oh yeah. And I do want to give a hot take on this too before we jump on that. This is Trae Young's last game in Atlanta tonight. Or tomorrow, whenever it's either was it tonight or tomorrow night they play?
Tomorrow.
So the rumor mill is Trae Young is from just outside.
Wait. Is this scoop or is this scuttlebutt?
A little bit of both. I've seen it trended on Twitter. So, but nobody official has posted it yet. But you heard it here second, as I just said, it's trended on Twitter. But I think this is Trae Young's last game in Atlanta. Little backstory about Trae Young. He's always been one of my favorite players in the NBA. I actually have his jersey from Atlanta. So I'm going to be pissed if I just bought that thing and he leaves. But anyway, Trae Young is from right outside of Dallas, Texas. There's some people over in Dallas that are doing some struggling right now. Both the Cowboys, they suck. That's a whole nother conversation. And the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks did not make the playoffs this year, and they have the talent. They need a point guard. So rumor mill is there might be a new point guard coming into town. I don't know. We'll see.
If I'm the Mavericks, that is the dumbest thing I could do. You just saw, I don't know how true this is. I believe you, but if you just watched Kyrie and Luka struggle the way they did because they have no wings and no bigs they're the only 2 guys on that team that are legitimate NBA starters. And you're going to give away more assets to get the same thing with Trae Young. That would be ridiculous to me. That is interesting though. what would a trade package for Trae Young look like?
I don't know where he'd go, but I do think if after this year, I think he's done in Atlanta.
I think Atlanta has done a piss poor job building
They
around
have,
Trae.
man. They've done nothing. Yeah, they have. You're 100% right. They've done nothing to help that man out. I mean, they have, but I mean, you got a lot of people forget. I mean, Atlanta went to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
they just got hot at the right time. But I don't know, man. That's just my, like I said, I always have a hot take one time during an episode. That's my hot take for this episode.
And then the last game last night, the T Wolves still won from the 1 seed at home.
My boy Ant-Man, Anthony Richardson. My boy Ant-Man out there, Anthony Edwards making plays, baby. Crossover back three.
Ant finished with 34, 6, and 5 in the overtime victory. Jokic finished with 43, 11, and 6.
Good gracious.
Nuggets, to me, and this is my one take, and then we'll move on, will never be a contender until Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. make themselves a clear-cut number 2 option.
Yeah, you're 100% right, man. And it's weird because I mean, I didn't even know who Jamal Murray was until the bubble. It's like he came out of nowhere from the bubble. And don't get me wrong, he's still playing good, but it's like he's not playing to his potential. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. I think, I knew Jamal Murray because he went to Kentucky.
Yeah, I know you knew who he was.
He blew up in the bubble, and then obviously he had the ACL injury. But he was so good, and his game's not really based off elite athleticism.
Yeah.
Expect more from him. Michael Porter Jr. is one of my favorite young players in the league. I would love to see him take a step up in this playoffs, but until one of those two guys step up, because you're not going to rely on Jokic to score 43 every night. If you are, you're going to keep losing.
There might be a reason why he's won 2 MVPs in a row, but
yeah, but they need somebody to step up to be
Yep.
a legit number 2.
You're right. I agree with that.
Kind of moving into today with the NBA. First game to me is a huge nothing burger. Giannis, Jimmy, and Bam are all 3 doubtful for the game tonight. It's gonna be like
how hurt is Giannis's ankle? I saw that I knew Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo were hurt, but how bad is Giannis? Has he played since game 2 or not?
He's missed the past 2 games. The Heat are up 2-1 right now.
Heat need to take advantage of this big time.
Yeah, exactly. But they're not if Jimmy and Bam don't play.
Yep. You're right.
But
Tyler Hero better step up, or is he hurt too?
He's out for the year. He fractured his hand. Kyle Lowry masterclass incoming. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. Kyle Lowry having a good playoff game. But I mean, let's get into the real topic of discussion in the NBA world. Lakers versus Grizz tonight. 10 o'clock tip-off. Ward, go ahead and give me your thoughts on this game, man.
Well, I will say after I was giving Dillon Brooks the praise, and God, he shit the bed. He played so bad. Dillon Brooks, what's the stats he did? He went
3 for 13.
3 for 13 with 7 points or 9 points?
He was 7 points.
How many turnovers did he have?
Too many.
I don't know what's going on, man. I mean, I'm sitting here embarrassing myself, calling you Hemi Neutron, and you come out and shit the bed and do that to me. But I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I like Dillon Brooks. I'm more of a players kind of guy, but I'm on this Lake Show bandwagon right now. I think the Lakers are playing really good. They're arguably playing the best basketball in the NBA as of the All-Star break. They're scary, man. I don't think many teams want to play them right now. Especially they go to Memphis and split in Memphis, and then now they're playing in LA. I mean, they took game 1 in LA, but I mean tonight they play again. Lakers win tonight, it's done.
Yeah, I agree with the Lakers talk. I want to talk about Jaws woes kind of real quick.
How about Dillon Brooks nut tapping LeBron? What the hell, man? Yeah, let's not skip over that. Dillon Brooks.
Dillon Brooks. Hey, I will say, thank God that video got cut out of me on the last episode talking about Dillon Brooks. That was bad. I was talking about him with the dog, and he just made me look like the smartest man alive come out stroking it, going 3 for
Oh,
13.
I knew he was gonna suck when LeBron came up to him pregame, got in his face, and started talking shit, back it up, talking shit to him. And Dillon Brooks is just standing there like a puppy.
Yeah. I'll kind of reiterate what I said last
It's starting to
episode.
cut the ball.
Dillon Brooks to me, role player. Don't care what he does. Don't care what he does. I mean, look at what Draymond said a few weeks ago. If you want to look at the reason that the Grizzlies aren't a true contender, look at number 24. The guy stinks. The guy's always stunk. I mean, I
Who's
can't
the
speak.
best? Who's the best to ever wear 24 in the NBA? Dillon Brooks or Kobe?
Anyways,
Just a
um,
question.
I do want to talk about Ja real quick though, because Ja in that fourth quarter last game was amazing.
He
But
was. They came back too. They were down 40-8, and they came back and ended up being an 8-point game in the fourth quarter.
he
And that's
played.
all based off one man too.
Um, I will say though, man, like Jared Vanderbilt has given him problems this series. Like the length of Jared Vanderbilt has really impressed me. How well he's guarded Ja, obviously up until that fourth quarter. But at some point, great players are just going to take over.
That's true. Didn't Josh score 22 straight or 25 straight?
It's
That's
22.
insane, dude.
Um, on the Lakers front, I never know what Lakers team I'm going to watch.
Oh, you never know. They're either gonna suck or they're not gonna miss a shot.
When I sit
Hey,
down
my
and
boy Austin Reeves played good.
yeah, when I sit
Coldest white boy in the league. Sorry.
when I sit down and watch the Lakers, man, I never know what I'm going to get. I don't know if I'm going to get a 30 and 20 by Anthony Davis. I don't know if I'm going to get 7 and 10 by Anthony Davis. I don't know if LeBron's going to come out and be the greatest player I've ever watched play basketball,
You're,
or if he's going to be a 6'9" point guard just dishing the ball around.
you're right.
The only thing that I know for sure when I watch the Lakers is that D'Angelo Russell is going to take at least 5 shots where I go, "What are you doing?"
Yep.
And Malik Beasley is not going to make a shot.
Yep.
But when the Lakers are playing great, they're one of the best teams in the league to me. I don't think there's a better 1-2 punch out west than AD and LeBron when they're both playing well.
Yep. I wonder if old legs is gonna affect them down the stretch of the playoffs though.
I always think that, and especially with Anthony Davis being as injury prone as he is, that's always something you got to worry about, and that's not anything you can predict either.
Yep.
Like it's just the game. But I don't know. Do you have anything else on the NBA you want to touch on before we move on?
No, the only thing I really wanted to talk about was Vince McMahon and the WWE giving some nut kicking shots, but that's it. I mean, I don't know. It's been I think we just pretty much went over everything in further detail. But no, it's NBA playoffs, man. You can't ask for any better. It's entertaining for sure.
So this is an exciting day for me and Ward.
Uh-oh.
We're introducing a new segment that will more than likely be making an appearance every week on the show. I had it in a dream last night. Texted Ward about 11 o'clock, and amazingly typed it out. It's called Full Plate, Empty Stomach. We're going to be naming one guy who we think this week had a great week, hence full plate, and a guy who had a terrible week, hence empty stomach. Ward, I want you to go ahead and start out on this segment, man.
Cam, I love the idea. Love the idea. And I can't wait to implement this into our podcast as well. I think this is going to be for some exciting takes, some exciting debates, and I think the viewers are going to love it. But I'm going to go ahead and start us out, boys. Cam, like I said, love the idea. But for my full plate this week, we've been talking a lot about NBA, NFL. We haven't jumped in much of the MMA stuff. We talked a little bit about boxing, but, we're a very strong MMA podcast as well. And how about the heavyweight Russian, Sergey Pavlovich? I guarantee you I messed that name up. He came in this weekend on Saturday night on a UFC fight night, knocked Curtis Blades out in the first round. It's his 4th knockout in a row in the first round. 4th first round finish in a row. This guy has gotten beat. I know he got beat by Alistair Overeem. I don't have his record pulled up in front of me. I believe he only has 1 loss. But and that was way early in his career too. This guy's a problem, man. He's good. I mean, he came out in the first round, knocks out Curtis Blades. The whole time he clipped for Curtis Blades first 30 seconds of the fight, and then after that, Curtis Blades is looking over at the time, seeing how much time is left. So that's my full plate for the week. My empty stomach for the week. we didn't get into this, Cam, but my empty stomach for the week is going to be the man, the myth, the legend from the Ohio State University, C.J. Stroud. So every year, college football or NFL combine people get something called the S2 test. And what this is, to dumb it down, it's the EOG for football. It tests your mental awareness. It tests what you do in this situation, what you wouldn't do in this situation, split second decisions in these certain situations. They get granted on all the I'm just talking about the quarterbacks right now. Bryce Young blew it away. Bryce Young scored in the 97th percentile. Will Levis scored in the 91 percentile. Anthony Richardson did okay. I think he had a 76 or something like that. But you got to remember, C's get degrees. And this man, C.J. Stroud, scores in, it's either the 12th or the 14th percentile. You can't even, I think it's worse to go in and guess all C. He could have just did that. I mean, I don't know what he did, man. And that's a big reason, a very strong point of the Panthers offense. Sorry to go on a rumble here, but the Panthers run RPOs. That's what they like to do. Somebody with this S2 test cannot run a Panthers offense. I think this is a big reason why he's dropped so far down the draft board. I don't think he's going to get picked in the top 5 anymore. He was supposed to be the first quarterback taken off the board a month ago. So sorry to go on a ramble. Cam, let's hear your full plate and empty stomach.
Well, I do want to touch on that point real quick on the CJ Stroud thing. I've seen plenty of guys score high and not be good. Never seen a guy score low and be good.
Yeah.
And that just kind of carries on the whole thing with Ohio State quarterbacks that we've seen is these guys play in an offense where they have 1 or 2 reads max, and it's hard to translate to an NFL landscape. And you're going to see the same problem with Hendon Hooker, who didn't grade well either. These guys.
Did he not? I didn't see his grade.
He didn't, and
he's a big target for Washington.
As many numbers as, and this is going to be a rant like you had with Hendon Hooker. These guys that play in these high power offense that these guys run, it's fool's gold because they put up the numbers, but they're reading one guy in that defense. And CJ Stroud did a lot of this, where it's half field reads. These guys don't like take in a full playbook. They're playing mirror offenses, which means the 2 receivers on the left side are running a route combo, and the 2 receivers on the right side are running a route combo. And then the next play, they just switch route combinations.
Yep.
This guy's never reading really a coverage or a scheme.
Yep.
He's just looking at one guy and making a decision off that.
NFL defenders are different, dude. This is not college football. All these guys are good.
And NFL DCs, man, like these guys know how to mess with quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks. And
especially young quarterbacks.
But kind of getting into my full plate, empty stomach. My full plate this week is Anthony Davis.
Go.
Reason being, I mean, you're talking to the number 1 Anthony Davis fan probably ever. We got the full AD experience this week. You get a 7-point game. He's flopping all over the place, getting hurt. And then he comes back and has, 30 and 20 and is the best player in the court, most dominant player in the court. We got the full Anthony Davis experience this week. I love AD, man. He's a great ball player, but you want to talk about inconsistent. That is the textbook definition of inconsistency. My empty stomach this week, I'm going between 2 guys. I'm going to go with Dillon Brooks, even though I kind of
Dillon Brooks.
Talk your shit, man. Just make sure you back it up. Don't write checks don't let your mouth write checks that you can't cash.
I love that. I've never heard that before. Let's go.
Dude, he comes in, I mean, didn't make a shot in warm-ups. I don't know if you saw those videos of the crowd.
I did not. LeBron's in his head.
Came out in the game, didn't make a shot. That's what happens when role players don't know their role.
Yep.
Draymond can do it because Draymond's a champion. Has been all defensive player. He's been a defensive player of the year.
4-time champion.
What has Dillon Brooks done to earn the right to be able to talk to anybody in the NBA? Anybody.
Hey, he does the best this dance in the league.
He does a cool dance, I guess, and misses threes and isn't an athlete and just kind of plays defense. You want to talk about Russell Westbrook. Talk about Dillon Brooks. He doesn't guard anybody. He just runs around and yells at people. That's what Dillon Brooks does. But I do have a second empty stomach, and that is Ryan Garcia. Took
Oh,
a
I
good
ain't gonna
shot from the
see it.
bell head.
Hey, he was taking a knee for the first responders.
That was rough. I will say, like, people who are saying that he faked it, I don't get it. They've obviously never been hit with a liver shot.
Nah.
I will say though, listening to the post fight, he sounded like a guy that didn't want to get up, as opposed to a guy that couldn't get up.
That's very true.
I think you feel the power of some guys, and then you realize, maybe this isn't what I signed up
This
for.
isn't what I signed up for exactly.
That was an awesome fight. It was an electric fight. That's all I have. Ward, do you have any more full plates or empty stomachs you want to touch on
No,
this week?
that's it for me. I know the two empty stomachs I had was obviously Dillon Brooks. He made me eat my own words, and then I got into the CJ Stroud stuff. But I just want to say to our listeners, this has been we've had a journey. We're extremely excited for this, and I'll kind of steal Cam's thunder and talk a little bit for a second. But we have some big things in the pipeline. I know me and Cam were talking. We're not going to give away too many hints yet, but the next 4 weeks we have 4 exclusive interviews, and they are some very interesting interviews with some former college athletes. Talking about their specific experience or their experience playing at these schools, what it was like playing during COVID, all that stuff. So we're extremely excited. And then, this is actually, usually we're one podcast a week kind of people. But Cam, I'll give it off to you, my friend.
This week, we'll be dropping a second episode doing our draft preview. We're extremely excited about this. Not sure if we're doing a mock draft style yet or if we're just doing a big board, but we've both been doing our homework. We've both
Yeah,
been scouting guys. We're extremely excited to bring that episode to you. I'm sure we're going to miss on a lot of prospects, but best
as
believe
always.
that one prospect we hit on, we're going to be talking about for years.
Yep.
Um, so that just be on the lookout for that. We'll post it. Obviously, socials again, YouTube, Spotify. We got TikTok up and running. We got Instagram up and running. All of it is Fat Cats Pod. That's KATZ.
Check the
But
boys out.
like I said, man, we're excited to bring you episode 3 here coming soon. And that's all I got to say. Ward, tell the people where they can find you on socials, man.
Hey, like Cam just said, check us out. We're extremely excited. And just a little wink, wink, hint, hint for next week. I think Bryce Young's going 1. But if you made it this far, I owe you a beer. Thank you for all the support. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. See you on Wednesday.
Peace.